Greetings to all the delegates present at the Asia Steel Forum 2024. I will be presenting this PPT on the behalf of Mr. Vaidyanathan. Now let's get into the topic. So our topic is focused on the green technology and digital penetration in Indian steel industry against the background of global developments. Now starting with the slides, the global demand is expected to decline by 0.9% in 2024, though it is expected to rebound by about 1.1%, which is projected for 2025. Now, looking at China, which represents over 50% of global production, which will continue to see domestic demand weaken further. This suggests that China's exports will likely remain high, which will be contributing to an oversupply in the market. On the other hand, India is anticipated to maintain strong growth with around a 8% year-on-year increase, and key regions like the EU, US, and Japan are also projected to experience growth in steel demand by 2025. Now, moving ahead, looking at India's scenario, which has solidified its position as the world's second largest steel producer, in FY23, India's per capita steel consumption reached around 93.4 kilograms, which remains below the global average, which is 219 kilograms. However, the country is on a track to increase its per capita consumption to 160 kilograms by around 2030 and to 220 kilograms by around 2047. Now, if we look at the top countries like China, where the per capita consumption stands at around 640 to 650 kgs, and looking at US, which is around 280 to 300 kgs, South Korea with around 988 to 990 kgs, and EU27 with around 310 kgs. Now, India's crude steel projection is expected to reach around 152 million tons in FY25, which will be marking a 8% increase. According to the National Steel Policy of 2017, which has been set, there are a few targets that have been set, which is around 300 million tons by 2030 and around 500 million tons by around 2047. These targets will be majorly driven by the government spendings and ongoing urbanization projects. Moving to the next slide, if we look at India's steel consumption growth, which has been quite steadily rising from around 100 million tons in 2020 to an expected 136 million tons in 2024. Looking at India's rising demand, which is fueled by several factors, including process optimizations, product innovations, and notably a shift towards sustainability and decarbonization. Now, moving ahead, we can see green technology has become essential in India's strategy to reduce emissions from the steel industries. So, in short term, efforts are focused on energy efficiency, renewable energy, and increasing steel recycling, as using scrap significantly reduces carbon emission. This medium term will see investments in hydrogen technologies and carbon capture, while the long term goal is to achieve a net zero emission through breakthrough innovations. Moving to the next slide, we can see India is actively developing a suite of green technologies, including green hydrogen direct reduced iron, which can cut around 97% of emission, scrap-based electric arc furnaces, also reducing emissions by around 97%, hydrogen injection in blast furnaces to partially replace coal, and hydrogen blending in DRI furnaces to mix with natural gas and further reduce the emissions. The Government of India has also committed to achieve a net zero emission by around 2070. Under the Ministry of Steel, several initiatives have already been in progress, which is the National Vehicle Scrappage Policy to encourage recycling, hydrogen utilization in the blast furnaces to substitute coal, a shift to renewable energy in electric arc furnaces capable of cutting emissions by up to 88%, and implementing a carbon capture and a storage, which is the CCUS technologies, and a new carbon credit trading system offering incentives to companies reducing the emissions. Moving to the next slide, we can see supporting these efforts, India has launched several renewable energy initiatives, that is by issuing 11,098 megawatts of renewable energy tenders and approving 50 solar parks with a combined capacity of 37.5 gigawatts, expanding offshore wind facilities, and setting up an ambitious target of 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by around 2030. Moving ahead, the Government of India had also recently established a Center of Excellence with green hydrogen under the National Green Hydrogen Mission's R&D scheme with an investment of around 19,744 crores. And in addition to this, the battery energy storage system sector is projected to reach 47 gigawatts by 2032, which will be supported by production linked incentive schemes and government incentives. Turning our attention to the global developments, we can see that the European Union currently levies a carbon cost of 65 euros per ton, and India does not yet have similar regulations. But the EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or the CBAM, has been introduced to ensure fair competition. Additionally, the fiscal and the policy support will be essential for India to reduce emissions and remain competitive in the market. Now, looking at India's steel industry, it faces significant challenges. While India exports over $4.3 billion in steel and around 13 million in sponge iron, reducing carbon emissions to comply with CBAM is quite crucial. A 2022 European Commission study has shown that India's steel sector emits around 2.6 tons of CO2 per ton, that is 20 to 25% higher than China. Heavy reliance on coal in blast furnaces and sponge iron kilns make decarbonization more challenging, but implementing green technology is quite costly and regulatory incentives remain limited. However, consumers are often hesitant to pay a premium of green steel, so significant financial investments will be necessary for this transition. Moving to the next part, to address these challenges, a few strategic steps were also recommended. Increasing the use of scrap, though it may raise costs. Government support combined with the consumer willingness to absorb some of these added costs would facilitate progress. Europe's approach to scaling the electric vehicle market, though subsidies, highlights how policy supports can be transformative. And in India, increased funding will be essential. For instance, the UK government has pledged around 500 million euros, 500 million pounds towards Tata Steel's green transition, and similar support is being discussed for Tata's Dutch facility as well. Now, let's explore some digital transformations within the steel industry. Globally, the steel producers are embracing digital technologies such as robotic intelligent automation and the industrial Internet of Things. They are prioritizing cybersecurity and cloud-based data platforms and enterprise resource planning, which is the ERP, to optimize the production, inventory, and financial management. Now, these digital technologies brings a host of benefits which are enhanced operational efficiency, though predictive analytics and real-time data, with improved product quality and more effective energy management and low carbon solutions, and optimized customer service by refining inventory pricing and logistics. Now, moving ahead, in alignment with these advancements, India's government has launched Samarth Udyog Bharat 4.0, led by the Ministry of Heavy Industries. This program is established establishing innovation centers and fostering a digital ecosystem to accelerate the modernization in the steel sector. In the Indian steel sector, digital adoption is well underway. Companies are implementing technologies to optimize yield, create digital twins, enhance surveillance, streamline supply chains, and boost energy efficiency. By around 2030, investments in digital technology also across the Indian steel industry are expected to total between $2.3 billion to around $2.7 billion. Moving ahead, nonetheless, challenges remain, which are resistance to change and a lack of digital literacy can hinder process. Ensuring the data quality and integration across systems is very essential. So there is also a shortage of digital talent alongside the high costs of implementations. Now, if we look at the conclusion, overcoming these challenges will definitely require a strong digital first culture, which will be driven by clear leadership. So, by upskilling employees, securing regulatory support, and ensuring sufficient resources which are in place will be a key to unlock the full potential of digital transformation.
첨단 건축 기술의 결집으로 이루어진 초고층 초대형 빌딩. 그러나 눈에 보이는 화려함이 건축물의 안전을 보장하지는 않습니다. 중요한 것은 보이지 않는 곳에 있습니다. 건축물의 기본이자 중심인 골조. 골조는 건축물의 핵심입니다. 만약 골조가 안전하지 않은 건축물에 예상치 못한 큰 지진이 발생한다면 어떠한 일이 일어날까요? 지진이 시작되었습니다. 땅이 흔들림에 따라 건축물도 이에 반응하여 흔들리기 시작합니다. 유리가 사방으로 위험하게 쏟아지고 가구가 넘어지며 물건들이 떨어집니다. 순간 강력한 진동에 의해 골조에 큰 변형이 나타났습니다. 왼쪽에는 H코어 강제를 적용한 강기둥 약보 골조이고 오른쪽에는 일반 강제를 적용한 약기둥 강보 골조입니다. 일반 강제를 적용한 구조물은 하부층의 기둥들에 소성 힌지가 발생하여 구조물이 심하게 뒤틀리며 끊어지기 시작합니다. 반면 H코어를 적용한 구조물은 구조 구제에 부분적인 충격은 있지만 안정적으로 건축물을 지탱합니다. 왜 이런 차이를 보이게 되었는지 전문가에게 물어보았습니다.
일반 강제를 적용한 건축물의 경우 설계자의 의도와는 다르게 보의 강도가 기둥의 강도보다 크게 되어 기둥이 먼저 항복하였고 이에 따라 특정 층이나 전체 건물의 붕괴가 야기될 수 있는 상황이 발생하였습니다. H코어는 일반 강제와는 다르게 엄격한 품질 관리와 강도 관리를 통해 설계자의 의도를 정확히 파악하여 내진 성능을 높일 수 있는 제품이라고 생각합니다.
지진에 강한 철 H코어는 내진용 형강, 내진용 철근, 내진용 후판, 내진용 강관 등 다양한 제품 포트폴리오를 갖추고 있습니다. 탁월한 에너지 흡수 능력과 남극과 같은 극저온 환경에서도 깨지지 않는 충격 인성을 비롯해 건축물 구조 안전의 품질을 향상시키는 뛰어난 용접 성능까지 가지고 있는 H코어. 지진에 견디는 최고의 기술 H코어는 안전한 건물의 중심이자 안전한 대한민국의 중심입니다. 지진에 강한 철 H코어.